Hi, this is Coach PDHPE with part 2 of a Core 2 video. In an earlier video I did the learning environment and I did the two dash points. The first two dash points are in white, nature of the skill and also the performance elements. And in this video I'll have a look at those two dash points in red. Practice methods including mass, distributed, whole and part practice, and also the feedback given to athletes. So let's get straight back into it. We're up to practice methods. So how quickly a new skill is learned is influenced by the structure of the practice or training session. So what that means, the way that the actual coaching session is designed will go a long way to either how quick an individual will learn a new skill, or perhaps if it's not structured very well, will go a long way in determining that the skill won't be learnt very quickly. Now there is considered two main methods when deciding how best to coach athletes in learning new skills. They are mass practice versus distributed practice, or you could go the whole practice versus part practice method. Now the first of those is mass versus distributed practice, and we'll have a look at what mass practice is. It's when the skill is practiced continually without taking a break. For example, in a soccer training session, a player practicing the penalty kick for 20 minutes straight without taking a break. Now this is best for experienced and highly motivated athletes because it requires sustained levels of concentration. Depending on the skill, it can become also very physically demanding as well. Distributed practice is a little bit of the opposite, when the athlete has rest breaks or time spent practicing other skills. So instead of practicing the penalty kick straight for 20 minutes, in this example of distributed practice, they would practice the penalty kick, say, for 10 minutes, then have a rest break, followed by 10 minutes of perhaps passing drills. This is ideal for athletes or groups that have a low skill level or when the task is particularly boring. And it's particularly good if the skill is physically demanding. The next type of practice is whole versus part practice. Whole practice is when the entire skill is practiced at the same time instead of being dissected into different parts. For example, the javelin throw. In the javelin throw, there's a couple of main parts. There's the run-up and where you're gaining momentum, and then the actual release of the javelin itself. In whole practice, the whole skill would be practiced rather than working on the run-up or then the actual release of the javelin. It's best used for fast skills which cannot easily be separated into subparts, such as the example I gave of the javelin throw. Part practice is when the skill is broken into parts and each part is practiced separately. An example of this might be gymnastics floor routine. The floor routine can be broken down into a number of parts, and some of the parts could be practiced in isolation, particularly those parts that are causing the gymnast some trouble. This is best for difficult skills such as a gymnastic floor routine, or for individuals learning a skill for the first time. The next dash point is feedback. When athletes receive any type of information in relation to how well or how poorly they have performed in an event, this is known as feedback. And the example of the picture here is the time that's appeared on the scoreboard, a world record for the 200 metres. So that is a form of feedback. So one type of feedback is an internal feedback, and this is quite difficult to explain, but what it means is that it's feedback that comes from the athlete themselves and that's given to themselves. So an example could be, it's all about the athlete's kinesthetic sense, which allows an athlete to unconsciously feel how their body moves, and it's generally only being able to done by elite athletes. So for example, a goal kicker in rugby league might know the exact reasons for missing a kick after they've completed the kick. They might be able to understand that they didn't get their non-kicking foot into the right position and then be able to correct that error at their next kick at goal. External feedback comes from all sources outside of the athlete themselves. So that could come from the coach in terms of just conversations or in video analysis. It could even come from the crowd. And in this case, the picture on the screen from the scoreboard itself. So a positive form of external feedback would be for the Manchester United team, and certainly the negative would be for the Arsenal team, where the scoreboard's showing an 8-2 loss. Knowledge of results. Knowledge of results is information on the result of the athletic performance. So example, the time of the 100-metre sprint. It can also come from the coach and talking to a player after the performance, giving them some information on how they performed, or or the result of a shot in basketball, either it being successful or unsuccessful, gives immediate feedback to the athlete. It's important that if the results are not favourable, changes should be made to improve so the next result could become more successful. Knowledge of performance is different. Knowledge of performance is information on the technique itself and not necessarily about the result of the performance. So when an athlete would be doing video analysis on the actual baseball pitch itself, that would be an example of knowledge of performance. Knowledge of performance is just focused on the skill itself and not the result. Concurrent and delayed feedback. Concurrent feedback is feedback received during the performance of the skill and not immediately after. That's an important distinction. It's actually while the skill is taking place. It is mainly based on kinesthetic senses again. An example would be in the soccer player taking a penalty kick at goal. As he's on the approach to actually striking the ball, he notices the goalkeeper is moving in one direction, and then the player is able to readjust their body position to send the ball in the opposite direction to the keeper. Delayed feedback is feedback received after the skill has been completed. Examples include comments from coaches at any break during a game, or from a teammate who could yell out how to better execute a pass in soccer. This information allows for changes to technique in future performances. So, just a bit of a summary of successful feedback. Feedback should all be about motivating, reinforcing, or discouraging poor performance, or actually improving the athlete's performance. For feedback to be successful, a useful model is a three-step process. That step involves by giving firstly positive feedback, and that can be in the form of what's known as the 3 W's, what worked well about the performance. Then could come the actual negative part of the feedback, and that could be what's known as EBI, even better if the athlete had done this. And after giving the negative feedback, it's important to finish with a positive, again, what worked well. So there you have it. That's that very large dot point done. For more information on Year 12 PDHPE, you can get it at that website, but certainly for that dot point, I'd recommend, being such a large one, hit the textbooks or see your teacher for more information.